Hey everyone, it's Aaron from Parallax, and this is just a quick sample of the new library we're working on for freestanding gate families. We had a few requirements going in that we wanted this to work in concert with the regular Parallax door library for situations where there may be a gate with a person door inside it, and we may want to treat that person door as if it's also basically like a normal door that's schedulable as well. We had a bunch of other requirements we wanted to look at in terms of, what happens if portions of the frame, like in this case, the pilaster on one side and the pilaster on the other need to be different, or one needs to go away, and so on and so forth. So we started with a series of unhosted families. They've got all the basic functionality you would expect from a gate or a door. So in terms of ability to change the sizes and ability to basically say that the sizes are different. So if you wanted them to be different sizes, you could do that. If you needed basically an intermediate style, which is just what we call it, when we need a post basically that would go in between those panels that they could then lock to if you needed that. We currently have options for the frame and the panels are all changing in concert, or you can also set the heights to be independent. That way you can have pilasters that are either shorter or taller. And in this case, you'll see the intermediate pilaster is still moving with the size of the gate itself. It has its own control for if you'd like it to also be independently controlled. 87 feet tall will not work. So in addition, we've got your typical graphical controls. So if you want to basically open the gates, you can. If you want to change their dimensions or their swings in plans. So for instance, you want to show one of them closed, typically you can do that as well. One of the changes we're making with the gates is that by default, the actual modeled panel will be visible in plan. And then you can there is a pre-built filter so that if you don't want it to be visible in plan, you can still take them all out. Our doors are going to be changing to that in the next version as well. But if we close the doors in the model just for a minute, so you'll be able to swap what we're calling the frame or the enclosure, which can have all kinds of different styles. And again, that's more so we can build some that have enclosures that run along the top, some that are just posts, some that are more complex, and the swappability of those is already built in. So in this case, we have, let's just set all of our heights the same temporarily. Right now, we just have very simple pilasters, but we've even built in options for one of them has one side only or the other side only. That way, if you've got basically ganged gates together, so here you could use one that has a single pilaster and then another pilaster, that'll be doable as well. Similarly here, you could have one that has pilaster on, but then the next gate only needs a single pilaster. So that'll be doable as well. I'm going to put it back on both sides, and then the gates themselves are swappable as well. So what's really cool is just like the door library, we've made it so that you can swap an individual one, and that's assuming that you want them to be different. But if you set them to be the same, then you can basically change them in concert so that you don't have to be changing the parameter twice. But let's say you wanted to just change one. You'll see that this is now a gate that also has a person door within it. And then the properties of that gate itself are going to let you move by type, of course, so you could make different types. You can start to move where the person door is going to be within that type, like so. But what's also really neat is that, and I left it at 4'7", which is kind of awkward. So this gate is currently 8 feet tall, so we can get away with putting a full 7-foot tall person door in there. And as we've done that, basically this is now its own door element as well. So you could come in and tag it both with a regular door tag, but then if you wanted to, also one of our life safety tags that is now reporting how many occupants is it serving, and that's of course reading all of our typical door data in terms of what's the occupant width requirement, how wide is the door, and what's the reduction factor based on the thickness of the door panel. When you're using these panel types that have the nested person doors in them, the person door is its own independent control, so you can change its thickness independently of somebody that wants to change the thickness of the gate if they've got a very thick, complex design. So you can do those things as well. And because this is a now completely unhosted object, since it's not really married to a wall because it's a gate, and that means that we also wanted the ability to control the relationship of these frames to the gates themselves. So you can offset what we're calling the frame, if you will, but you can also offset it in the negative direction if you need to, in order to create whatever the situation is that you're working towards creating. So that's basically it at the moment. We're now going to start building out all the variations of them, singles, doubles, sliding, and so on and so forth, and we should have these out in the very near future. Thanks for checking it out.